It's a beautiful fall day here in the Sea to Sky. There's a crisp smell in the air, there's a mellower vibe around town, and there's that tingle of excitement for the impending winter. And even though we're not ready to hit the slopes just yet, there's no lack of things to do. In fact, fall has such a wide variety of activities. I love a good adventure, so today we're going to take a look at choice autumn activities on where you live. You wouldn't believe it looking at today, but it is fall already. In fact, people say that fall is the Sea to Sky's best kept secret. Sure, we get a lot of rain, but that doesn't stop us locals from getting out into the outdoors. Some might argue that fall is the best time of year for hiking and biking. It's almost like a reward for a hard-earned summer. But what about other fall-friendly activities? Today I'm in for a treat as we get out and explore some of the lesser-known things to do here in the Sea to Sky during shoulder season. First up, I'm going to check out Squamish's newest adventure. It's called the Rope Runner Course. It just opened in early September and it's designed to be played all year round. I'm joined with JP Tondreau, who's the co-owner of the Rope Runner Course. JP, look at this magnificent build that you did.
Yeah, thank you.
How did you do it? How did you build this?
So basically we started in July to do all the groundwork and foundation work, and then we shifted in high gears in August, and then we built it in about 2 weeks. So our company is basically manufacturing those parks as well. So for us it was our 9th park that we've built. We have 30 of those parks all over the world. It's basically it's a German design. It's called Crystal Term, and basically that's one of a really good representation of our product here in Squamish that we're really proud of.
Okay, because you're manufacturing these in Squamish and then shipping them across the world.
Yeah, so it's correct. So basically, well, we're manufacturing for North America, and most of the parts are done here locally in Squamish. Pretty much like 90% of the production is done actually here in the Lower Mainland as well. So it's all pretty much locally owned, locally made.
Great.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the elements that you have here on the course.
Yeah, so we've got a really big variety. So the elements are rated basically from green to black, a little bit like a ski hill for different skills and different ages level. We've got monkey bars, we've got suspended bridges, we've got like a bike on a beam, we've got even a snowmobile here.
Yeah, I noticed some of there's like definitely a Sea to Sky theme.
Yeah, so basically we're trying to customize always our course like for the local region. So yeah, this one is really representative of Squamish. We've got a kayak as well. We've got a little sailboat and climbing walls and vertical climbing elements and lots of different things to try out. 48 of them to be exact.
48.
Yeah.
And you can change the obstacles too, so the course can always be changing?
Yeah, so that's correct. So the idea is basically year after year to bring like new elements, new challenges to the course. So then if you're coming back, then it's not always the same thing.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, that makes it fun. And for people that want to come and experience this, is there an age limit or how does that work?
So we're recommending normally 7 years old or about 50 inches and up. So that would be more of a height restrictions than an age restriction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a weight restriction?
No weight restrictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of, because we're talking a lot about fall activities, fall things to do, and it's a gorgeous day today, so it's a good day to get out there, but you're going to run this year round.
Yeah, we'll run it year round. I mean, just get your rain gear on and come and play. I think it's a perfect rainy day activity for Squamish for sure. It's still fully safe. It's really slippery, so, and then if you fall in your harness and you're 100% safe.
So tell me a bit more about the safety. How do you set people up to just be as safe as possible?
Yeah, so we'll do always a safety briefing with our guests. Then our guests have a full body harness where they get a double carabiner system. The carabiner system is actually smart enough so it talks to each other. So then once you're connected into the system, you cannot disconnect both carabiners at the same time.
Really?
So
how does that work?
That's magic, just part of our trade secrets. It's actually a fairly simple mechanical system. And once you're disconnecting one for our lifelines, you need to reconnect it to another element in order to disconnect the second one and then reconnect it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that keeps everybody really safe because even though you have guides there monitoring what's happening, I mean, I think how many people can you fit up on the course at a time?
So we can fit up to 60 people at one time. It's not a linear system. So once you're inside the lifeline system, then you can pick your own adventure and decide wherever you want to go. So there's 48 different games. So even with 60 people at one time, it still gives enough room for everyone to enjoy. And then again, like the way the safety system is made, you can really pick through like green, blue, and black elements. And then if you're coming several times, I'm pretty sure you're never going to go back to the same place twice.
Okay.
So yeah.
What do you think is the favorite element? Like, do you ever see a bunch of people kind of congregating to one area of the course because there's a really popular element there?
Yeah, so far, I mean, the snowmobile has been very popular because of like the photo opportunity for sure that it provides. Otherwise, we've got a few Ninja Warrior elements. So if you know American Ninja Warrior, so then we've got like what it's called the running board. So that's really more of a mental game where you need to run on 2 platforms on each side and you can see down, and so it could be pretty scary at times, but it's a really fun one when people push basically their mental limits.
Do you see people up on the course that maybe have a fear of heights? They start low, and as they build confidence, they work their way up. Do you see a lot of people who are afraid of heights up there?
Absolutely. Actually, like it's a really good self-confidence exercise, like for all ages, right? So you can start, you're not feeling so comfortable, but as you get used to the safety system, as you get used to the park, then you gain confidence, and then you have more trust, and then you can push your limits, let go your lanyards. You know, you can always hold on to your lanyards to the obstacle, but as people get more comfortable, then you can get like, do like more the balancing act over the elements. Yeah.
So one final question, what's your favorite element?
I think the running board is one of my favorite ones, yeah. Just for the mental aspect, and then it's really dynamic and you need to run fast, and the free fall as well is a really cool one.
All right.
We'll have to experience it later on. 60 feet high.
I'm excited. I'm not afraid of heights, so I'm gonna go for it, I think. And I'm interested to see what my favorite element will be. So
that'll be awesome.
So let's get up there.
I'll tow you around.
Yeah, let's get up there. I'm gonna go try out the rope runner course and figure out what my favorite element is. I'm very excited.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. This has been so much fun. If you have an hour or 2 to spend in Squamish doing the rope runner course, I definitely recommend it. After the break, I'm going to go up to Whistler and fly through the trees on my next adventure, so stay tuned. I'm at the base camp for Canadian Wilderness Adventures, and I'm super excited because I'm going to try one of the newest tours on their roster. Now, I know I said that I'd be flying through the trees, but I bet you didn't think I meant on a bike. I'm joined now with Craig Beattie, who's the general manager here at Canadian Wilderness Adventures. Now, Craig, at Canadian Wilderness, you guys do snowshoeing, you do snowmobiling, you do ATV tours, and now you have the Great Canadian E-Bike Tour. So you have to tell me all about this new tour that you guys are doing.
Yes, we've been trying to figure out something else to do in the summer with our trail system, so we grabbed a bunch of electric mountain bikes, full suspension, to give people a reintroduction back into the sport.
Now, e-bikes, for those watching at home that maybe don't know anything about e-bikes, can you tell us a bit more information about those bikes?
They take away the pain and add the fun. So the electric bike is a pedal assist. It allows you to have different power modes, so you can use it for hills or for long, arduous trails that you might not want to be climbing on, but they ride just like a regular mountain bike on the descent, so adds a lot of fun.
Yeah, makes going up much easier.
Way easier.
And coming down, is there still that full suspension?
Yeah, they ride. They're an absolutely amazing bike, the giant E1s, and I've ridden it on lots of full mountain biking trails like I would with my non-electric bikes, and they're spectacular.
How does this tour work for those who maybe aren't super into mountain biking? Like, what level of biker do you have to be to participate?
I think for the main part is that people have some biking experience. Our goal is that it's for we're trying to bring in people who have ridden maybe in the past and may want to get back into it. But if they've got sort of that introductory biking ability, then we can teach them how to mountain bike.
Okay. And where does the tour go?
We're in the Callahan Valley, and from our base, we'll then head down a trail along the Callahan Creek, right out to Alexander Falls. Some great views and vistas. And then depending on the length of the tour that the clients want to have, we can expand it to other sorts of areas in the valley.
Okay. And now we're getting into fall. The weather's changing. It's pretty cold out today.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Yeah. How do you feel that this tour is going to evolve and change now that the season is changing?
I think that we have clothing for the clients, so it allows them to stay dry as much as we can. We're in a nice canopied area as well. You're going to get a little mud on the face and have some fun, but the active aspect of the tour is going to keep you warm, so we'll keep you warm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I like getting muddy. It makes it more fun, I think.
Mud is fun.
Yeah.
Little kids.
Yeah, and I feel that in the fall too, just that the rain making the ground a little tackier makes the tires more grippy. Is that true?
Yeah, it absolutely is. The fall is it's kind of our second biking season of the year around the valley here. So we're going to have some good times with the trails.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a intermediate biker at best.
Perfect. Well,
how am I going to do today? Can you hook me up with?
You're going to be great. I've got a guide, Chris, who's going to take you on the tour, and we'll get you your helmet and your bike, and you guys will be on your way.
Awesome. I'm excited.
All right. Have a
let's
great
do
time.
it.
All right.
I'm with my tour guide, Chris. He's going to show me the ropes on this e-bike adventure today. So what kind of gear do I need?
Oh, just the normal helmet and a set of glasses to help keep mud or dust out of your eyes.
Okay, great. And this is the bike?
Yes, it is.
Tell me a bit about it.
All right, so they do come with a dropper seat post, so you just push the button here and then use your body weight, and you can lower the seat, release the button, and that'll keep it down, or push it and raise it without any weight on it. So, effortless adjusting on the fly. And then over here we've got the power controls for the bike itself. So you've got the power button, button for the backlight to control the brightness, and then the arrow keys here, which will go between the different power modes, so off, eco, normal, and power. It starts in eco mode, gives you a little bit of assistance, then you can go up to normal or power depending on the type of trail you're riding or how steep the hill is.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there's also a walk button here, so if you screw up the gearing on a hill, you can push that and it'll actually help move the bike up the hill without having to push the 50-pound bike on your own, which is quite handy.
Yes. All right, well, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh yeah,
Let's go.
And this is Callahan Creek. The color of the water is from glacial till, which is essentially rock dust. So as the glacier moves down the mountain, it wears away the rock it sits on. And as it melts, it carries that dust with it and gives the water the color. All right, now that we've had a little rest, we're going to start making our way back up the trail towards Alexander Falls.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Welcome to Alexander Falls. We made it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Worth all the uphill?
Yeah, it was worth it. It was a nice reward.
Oh yeah. So we'll start making our way back down the trail and end up back at Choppers.
All right. Oh my God, Chris, that was so much fun.
Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for coming out.
Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Well, my day's not over just yet. Up next, I'm going to catch up with a few amateur mycologists. Not sure what that is? You'll find out after the break. Did you know that autumn is the best time of year to head out looking for mushrooms? We are in coastal temperate rainforest here, and there are over 3,000 different kinds of mushrooms that you can go foraging for in the area. Not all of them are safe to eat though, so it's always good to bring in a pro, which is what I've done today. I love mushrooms, and so does this girl. This is Steph from Wild Forage.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So earlier I called you amateur mycologist. Now, a mycologist is a person that studies mushrooms. Okay. How did you get into mushrooms and foraging?
I learned from about 8 years ago, and I was working for a company that sold wild harvested products to chefs all around the Vancouver and Whistler and Lower Mainland. And I really became passionate about foraging, and because I'd come from a background of farmers markets, I saw that they were missing an element to have wild food at the farmers market. And so I kind of left that job with that company and took more knowledge that I learned from them and started my farmers market business where I sell and harvest wild mushrooms locally over BC there.
So tell us a bit about foraging itself. So people are going out in the woods. How do they prepare to go out if they're going to go forage for themselves?
So if you're just starting out, you want to go with an expert or bring all your books and kind of choose one mushroom, like start with a chanterelle, really kind of know exactly what you're looking for in that specific mushroom. And then when you go out and you're looking for it, you want to pack a backpack, maybe take water, because mushroom hunting can take a few hours. So sometimes a whole day to find anything. So you want to bring snacks and maybe a little mini first aid kit, because sometimes you can get on cliffs and maybe have a slip. So you want to be careful and prepared that way. But yeah, just go in and dig into the woods and start looking and move slow, because when you're walking so fast, you miss probably tons of species that you just would have never seen. So go slow, bring a backpack of snacks and water, and yeah, just go in.
What should you wear?
I always wear, well, I mean, on a day like today, I mean, I'm just wearing a jacket and a sweater and some hiking boots. But if it's really wet, because it gets really wet on the coast here, you want to, I mean, wear waterproof or Gore-Tex and just wear some really good supportive hiking shoes, because it can get really slippery in the woods. And always tell someone where you're going. Like if you're going by yourself, hopefully if it's your first time mushroom harvesting or you're really new, you're going with an expert. But if you are just wandering to learn in the woods and taking pictures of things, make sure you tell someone where you're going and maybe when you'll be back, so they're not worrying about you, or if they need to worry about you. I think that's important too.
So if you're out looking in the woods, it might be a good idea even to bring a reference book with some pictures.
Yeah. I always bring, I have a small pocket book and I have a bigger mushroom handbook. Also, I bring a greens book too, because there's so many edible greens that you can eat all around, maybe when there's not so many mushrooms harvested or popping up. So always bring a couple books. As you said, there's like over 3,000 species of mushrooms just in this area alone. So a lot of them are lookalikes, and you want to make sure that if you are about to harvest and you're ready and you're 300% sure you know, use the book as a reference as well as your expert, just to be safe. And
I think the best advice would be bring a professional with you, especially the first few years, because there's some ones that are not safe, not edible. You can get very sick from them, I imagine.
Yeah, you can get sick. There's some that can kill you. A lot will make you deathly ill. And they're just really bad on your liver. There's even some mushrooms that some people will say it's totally edible, but meanwhile it's 75% not edible or choice edible. So if you have a bad liver or weak organ, it could totally kill you, even though someone else could eat it and maybe not die from it. So you want to stick with like the 11 like core culinary total choice edible mushrooms that are obvious and not really hard to mix up. Because there's a lot of weird ones out there that are controversial too. So
okay. And what are some of the good ones that we should be looking for in this area specifically?
Well, I'd say most people know about chanterelles, the golden chanterelles, and there's white chanterelles. So around the Squamish and Whistler areas and north around Revelstoke, you'll find a lot of the white chanterelles, which are in the same family as the golden chanterelles, but they're a lot chunkier and more white color. And you find those in a bit colder regions, but along the coast, all the way from Lake Terrace down to the southern tip of Vancouver Island, you'll find, and I mean, even where I live on Bowen, you'll find the golden chanterelles, and they only have one or two lookalikes, so it's a good mushroom to start with, and they're really well known, and every chef uses them. So
and they're delicious.
And they're amazing. So it's a good mushroom to kind of start with, and you find a lot there. And also one that's really hard to find is the pine mushroom. And they are also called matsutake, and they grow along the coastal regions of BC, and they're just this peppery, meaty, chewy mushroom that's so good, but they're so hard to find. So that would be another challenging one that you could work on too to find. And lobster mushrooms too. They're nice and bright and red, so they're usually hard to mix up. Like they're pretty an obvious mushroom that you could find too. So I guess that's three that are pretty popular and well known.
So if you're looking for these mushrooms, exactly how are you finding them?
Some of them you actually have to dig underground. For instance, the pine mushrooms, that's why they're probably the hardest to find, and they're the most expensive mushroom usually, because they have 5 different stages in their life. So that's 5 different grades. So it's a small button is number 1, and then they go all the way to number 6. So when it gets to a number 6, it's fully open and it's actually above ground. So because those ones are easier to find, they're not worth as much money. But if you know the smell of them and where to look for them when they're number 1s, you can smell them and actually you can be around a tree and know that they're somewhere around that tree. So you can kind of just like gently move the moss. You want to not disturb the soil as much as possible, just because you want to keep the environment sound, and sustainable harvesting is really important. So usually you'll see like a tiny piece of the mushroom popping up and the smell, and then you'll know to like gently lift up around and pull those mushrooms out. And they actually grow underneath each other. The lobster mushroom also grows kind of underground, but it will peep out red and then have like a little flap of moss or pine needles on top, and then you kind of have to gently brush around that and cut it out. The chanterelles, though, are usually just like golden little beautiful dots all around the forest, and so they're pretty easy to find usually.
And how do you lift them up? You just use your hands, or?
So that can get really controversial. A lot of people think that just pulling the mushroom out is okay. I believe in cutting the mushrooms when I harvest them. There's like things like baskets you need to use so that you shake the spores around as you're carrying the mushroom. Like don't put them in a plastic bag, because you do want the spores to spread, and I think that's why some people who believe that just plucking them out of the ground is not leaving any spore behind, because when you cut off the base, then there's a little bit of the mushroom still in the ground, so then it's there for the next year and the next year to keep growing more mushrooms.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that I have you with me today.
Okay. Good.
Because you're a pro, and I've already learned a lot, and I think that I'm just going to continue to learn because, like I said, I love mushrooms, and I know a lot of people in this area do. They're fun to look for, they're fun to cook with, and enjoy. So thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks
And again, just one final tip, make sure that you do head out with a pro. Don't eat anything if you don't know what it is, and get that professional opinion before you do that. And if you'd like to learn more about mushrooms, there is the Fungus Among Us Festival. It's happening in Whistler this October as well. Well, that's it for today's Where You Live. I know it's really tempting to go home and curl up on a couch on a rainy day and just watch movies all day, but I think most people in the Sea to Sky area, we've got it pretty dialed. We know to get outside and enjoy it. So I hope you get outside and enjoy this beautiful autumn that we're having. For Shaw Sea to Sky, I'm Kristy Aleksich. Thanks for watching Where You Live.